Hello, everyone. Jane here from Your Weight Loss, and today we're talking about our budget. Hi.
Hello.
Ooh, it's going to be a heavy one, so settle in. I don't know if they need notes. Do they need a pencil? We're going to say no. People are walking right now. I feel like
I
people are
mean,
on their exercise.
what kind of a budget are we talking about right now? I'm a little
We are.
afraid.
I know we're talking about. We're not talking about money budget. Boring, man. That's a Jeff conversation. We'll be talking about your calorie budget.
Okay.
So
I
that's
like
fun.
it. It
I
is
like
fun.
it. Because tons of people are asking. I mean, it's just it's a good conversation. You should learn something. If you're listening, you should learn something today. That's our goal. You should feel more knowledgeable and more. You should understand yourself a little bit more. So hopefully, you'll use this knowledge and go deep into reflection about who you are, because that is what we'll be talking about.
And you know what I want to say? As much as you're like boring talking about money budget, there's so many links between your money budget and your weight and the scale and stuff. And I personally, as much as I complain about, people in my life helping me to be more financially responsible, I always feel good after I have had conversations, made choices that align with who I want to be, but it is a little bit uncomfortable.
I like it. I mean,
But
that's
I
a perfect
always
metaphor.
feel better after.
And what you're doing is you're communicating with people that have the skills to help you be in a budget, and make better
Absolutely.
choices and actually follow with who you want to be.
And having a conversation about where I do want to spend my money and
Mm.
being more aware about where my money is going, as much as I sometimes don't want to know, like when I tell the lady at Lulu to not say the total out loud. Um, I do. Awareness is huge.
Awareness is huge when it comes to, yes, of course, spending your money. And also there was this thing that happened when I was shopping that I'm like, that I want to know how much these pants are compares to the other pants so I can make a proper decision of what's worth it. Like, and obviously we're just so deep passionate about this industry. So everything that we can relate to weight loss or calorie deficit, I mean, it naturally happens in our brain. So when that happened to me the other day at the mall, I was like, see, it's like calorie deficit. Like I'm allowed to know, how much it is and to choose after. It's not obsession. It's not whatever. Like I only have a certain amount of money that I want to spend today. And I also want to buy a bra. You know what I mean? So I'm allowed to decide what I want to do. I love it. Today I want to talk about everyone's budget, meaning that we all have a different budget. Like in terms of how many calories we can spend to be able to be on budget. So let's say someone's budget is to be in a calorie deficit. So let's go with that route, right? Because your budget, like if you're on maintenance, well, your goal's different. So you're trying to budget things in order to be to just be in calorie maintenance. Let's say you're on a weight loss journey, meaning you're trying to budget to be in a deficit. Right? So there's that difference there where you have to budget differently depending on what you want to do. So let's talk money for a little bit. If you're trying to budget to just be able to pay your bills and that's it, there's no extra for retirement or whatever, that's your budget is different than someone that's like, you know what? I'm putting a lot of money aside because I'm going on a trip, or I'm putting a lot of money aside because we want to build a home. Like there's just, everyone has a different budget depending on their goals.
And you know what? This brings up the amazing point of when you have that friend who you feel like always eats the cake, always is this, and doesn't have to be concerned. Well, that friend might not be trying to lose weight. Maybe they're at maintenance. So they have a very different budget than you. And you can look at that friend and want to stab them in the eye, but that's not productive.
It is.
At the end of the day, what do you want? Your budget is going to look different than your friend's.
And okay, I love that comparison as well. There's also the comparison of you and your friend both wanting to lose weight and you both have the same goals. Well, Alicia and I can both want to save up for retirement. Okay. If I can, because of my experience or lifestyle or whatever, maybe I put away $5,000 a month, depending on my life and my job and my choices and whatever. And she puts 1,000. she can't be upset because, like that's what her lifestyle, not her body, but you see what I mean here, that you could be
Yes.
doing the exact same thing as someone else and you could have the same goal, but you don't come to the party with the same baggage. You
So
just don't, like, we don't have the same husband, like in terms of money, we don't have the same husbands, we don't have the same, like we have the same jobs, but you get what I mean. At the end of the day though, we're different. We are different.
the point that we're really trying to hammer home right now is that comparing your budget, whether we're talking
Mm,
about money or we're talking about your
yes.
calories, whatever that budget happens to be in order to lose weight or in order to save, it is not productive to be looking around at other people, whether it's your friend, your husband, the younger version of yourself, and
Right.
comparing what it's like for you to save to be in a calorie deficit now versus then. It is just not productive, guys.
I love that. And it really, your friend losing weight and you comparing that or whatever, does not, your friend losing weight does not stop you from losing weight. So let's like put that out there as well. Like sometimes it's like, we get a little bit jealous or we get envious or we get whatever, but use that as inspiration that your friend has found their way to create a deficit, losing weight, and then you're trying to figure out your way, and their way does not take away your way. Like,
We're not we're
there's
not
enough
all
pounds for
applying.
everyone.
Yeah, we're not all applying for the same job here.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what's happening. There's enough weight loss to go around, and if you wanna achieve that, see that from a lens of inspiration, and that takes a level of maturity to do. And just one last piece about that, please know that unless you live with that person and you work together and you are together 24/7, you can't look at what they do on a Saturday night and compare what you do on a Saturday night and feel sad that you can't do what they do, because they maybe do all kinds of other things throughout the week to allow for that moment in their lives. They budget for that moment. You might budget different. And here's the news: you are in charge of your budget, when, where, and how you spend it.
Yeah, well said. Perfect. And thank you
Okay.
for bringing that part up as well, because I do think that there's that thing where we're like, "Oh, my friend can eat whatever." Like, I'm sorry, like, no, your friend can't eat in a surplus and not gain weight. That's not how it works. If your friend were to be eating in a surplus, they would also gain weight, just like you gained weight this last year eating in a surplus. Like, and so I think that knowledge really takes away the drama from the comparison. And also knowing that there's no bad food. So your friend, I'm sorry, could be eating what you label as like unhealthy food and they can eat whatever they want, but and you could still be overeating on your healthy plate and they're not overeating with their what you labeled as bad food. So it's not about bad versus good food. It is about surplus versus not being in a surplus. That's how a human being gains weight. It is not by eating certain foods or not eating certain foods. And I
Or
think having that knowledge takes out the drama.
huge, or having this magic metabolism, or
Right.
being able to, people say it all the time, so and so can eat whatever they want and not gain weight.
Mm.
They're just at maintenance. They're eating at maintenance.
Yeah, they're just not over consuming for their budget. Now let's talk about that.
Okay.
Everyone, when I think of like someone's budget when it comes to weight loss and really calorie budget, you need to understand that includes everything that is lifestyle. Okay. So that's why it's like when you want to lose weight and you want to create a deficit, you have to change, like it's a lifestyle change because you want to play with your budget. So you change your whole lifestyle. You don't just change your supper or your breakfast. There's a big change where it's like, okay, what does that person do as a lifestyle? That person moves their body, 6 days a week. That is included in their budget. Now, perfect. I'm going to write that in my budget. Moving my body. That helps my budget. Oh, that person is 30 years old versus 60. Oh, 30-year-old body. Okay. That plays a role in their budget. I'm sorry. Someone that has been working 30 years more than me has probably more of a budget than me if they were smart for the last 30. Does that make sense? Because you have
Yes.
more years ahead, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to weight loss, that also plays a role in your budget.
It does. And
Oh.
I just want to say before we keep going is that when we say calorie deficit, I need to remind you guys that In order to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit is very much a range. So anywhere from 0 calories consumed for me to 1900 calories consumed for me is a calorie deficit. Obviously, there's a very small deficit to a very big deficit is my range. So when you're trying to accomplish a calorie deficit, depending on the baggage you bring to the calorie deficit party, you might be someone that is just aiming for a small deficit because that is the only way that you can achieve a deficit while still living your life and while maintaining happiness. And that's okay.
I think a good example for that is the last 10 pounds. You know what I mean? And versus someone that starts off heavy and loses that maybe first 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, where you need to understand that someone that comes in that is heavier, okay, and that has a lot of body fat and starts changing their lifestyle. Well, they quickly create quite a big range of calorie deficit just with the changes they've made. And also the fact that their bodies, because they are heavy, they burn more energy than someone that is not. Okay. So they created a big deficit without feeling too deprived, because they got to probably eat quote unquote a lot and still create a deficit because naturally they do burn more calories than someone that is smaller. Now, when you are at the end, meaning you don't have a lot of body fat, and so just being you, okay, so think of the person that doesn't have a lot of body fat, is a little bit mature, maybe is short, okay, all of those things combined creates your lifestyle, who you are, blah, blah, blah. And it creates your budget, to be honest, about how can I create a deficit while maintaining my happiness. And so in order for those two things to come together, okay, like someone like me, to create a deficit and be happy, it needs to be a small deficit. And it takes a long time for me to see weight come off because I'm not just trying to create a deficit. I'm trying to create a deficit and be happy and love my lifestyle. And those two things with my budget and with my lifestyle and with who I am can take time to create, to average out a deficit enough to get to a pound. That's why the last 10 pounds can take a longer amount of time. It does not take any magic or any special whatever. You still need to create a deficit. But if you want to keep your happiness in check, it's going to take a while.
And it's the time piece that
exactly.
People really struggle with, is giving it the time. And we do get that when you have a certain amount of weight to lose and you get a good loss the first couple of weeks, that's so motivating. We get that. But sometimes then people get discouraged when their progress slows down. Well, I mean, that's the nature of the beast. And also there's metabolic adaptation. So as you lose weight, you burn less calories. So in order to be in the same deficit, yes, you would have to consume less calories than you were 4 years ago. But that's the nature of it. Now, it's not, it's not like hundreds of thousands of calories. It's small incremental changes, but that's what happens when you get down to that last little bit.
Absolutely. And that's why we focus so much on. So, okay, let's say you are with your financial advisor and he's like, hey, you need to start cutting, you need to be more of a little detective there of where money is coming, out. Okay. Well, obviously you're going to have those big conversations. What are the big conversations? Well, your vacations, they cost a lot of money and they really grab a lot from your budget. Okay. Do you want to keep them or do you not want to or do you want to take that $10,000 a year that you use for that vacation and spread it through the year and have more of shopping time or restaurant time or blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, it's the same conversation we're having with our members. Think of your weekends. Weekends would be the same equivalent and they come every friggin' 7 days. Okay. Every 4 days for some, So if you had a vacation once a month of $10,000, I think your financial advisor, and you'd be like, having trouble paying my bills here. I think your financial advisor would be like, maybe we can go on a trip once every 2 months, maybe, or a less expensive trip. Why is this this very expensive Disney cruise? You know, why aren't we doing maybe an all inclusive down south where there's like a special in May? Like, there's ways to be able to still enjoy what you love, which is the vacation piece of it. But why does it have to be so darn expensive? And I think that that's where we hit first, is in people's budget, and make them realize, like, that weekend that you spend 3 days just not caring and just giving her, that's a lot of money. Like a lot of calories. We're not saying, well, put less sauce in your salad. Like the financial advisor is not saying like less fruit. He's saying less restaurant, less beer, less alcohol, the things that you spend so much money on,
But as much as like you're saying that, like for sure the big things, but there's also the little things that if you check your Visa bill right now, you don't even know, and they're adding up. So
You're
for
right.
me, it wouldn't be Holy Whale, which is our
Local brewery.
which is my local brewery. Checked my Visa bill, and it was pretty obvious where my MB liquor. And but anyway, there could be things in your everyday life that you are spending significant amounts of money on, that if you were more aware and you said, actually, are you willing to spend $300 a month at Holy Whale? If the answer is yes, carry on. But if you're like, oh my gosh, no, like that's ridiculous, then you tweak and adjust. And that's where the like calorie awareness piece comes into the success of being in a calorie deficit. You deserve to know.
Yeah, you do deserve to know. And it's that piece of saying also at the beginning, it depends how much money you want to save. So if you're like, hey, I really want to put a lot aside. Okay, well, then you are looking into your vacations and your Holy Whale. But you could be like, no, I just want to like put a little bit aside because I do want to still live my life. Well, there you go. There's a difference here. And I want to say this. It's like when people are like, oh, can you give me tips on losing the last 10 pounds? And I'm like, first of all, why do you want to lose the last 10 pounds? Because girl, that is a lot of work. So it's almost like, can you give me tips to save more money? Okay, well, why do you want to save more money? Don't want to let go of my vacation. Then keep the same amount of money you're putting aside and just live your life. Like, because in order for you to want that last 10 pounds to come, you need to really change a lot. There is some lifestyle changes there.
It is important to have that conversation with people when they want more, is to say, why?
Yes.
Please recognize that no number that you weigh will ever hand you back happiness. Yeah. And all too often we are, striving, and we're constantly striving for this perfect number to achieve happiness, and happiness is not coming with a number. So you got to work on that as you're going, and figure out a way that you can do that while you are happy. And as you were talking, I was thinking about me and drinking and losing my last 10 pounds. And if I stopped drinking, absolutely, I would lose weight faster, but I'm not willing to sacrifice that. So that stays in my budget.
Absolutely. It's like if I wanted to also lose a few pounds, it would be like take away date night. Take away, stay home, be just all those things that really, this is the life I've created. And this is it. Like, I don't want to give up more, and you have a life to live. Like, it's the same for like saving money. C'est bien beau là, that you're saving for retirement, but you have a life to live as well. So you can go on vacation. You should. If you put out there like, okay, if I didn't go on vacation, if we didn't do any renovations, if we didn't, we would have so much money saved. Yeah, but like, then you're not living your life. Like, so it's all good that you'd be like, oh, I'd be so skinny, I'd feel so good, but you wouldn't be with your friends. You freaking love going drinking with your friends. You love, hosting your friends over. You love so that's just a part of like what you love. It's a part of your happiness.
It really is. So I guess as you guys are listening to this, I would love for you to let it go in your brain of having an actual number of calories as a goal, for having an actual number on the scale as a goal, and to just go into this and say, okay, in order to be in a calorie deficit, I need to be on budget at the end of the week. How do I want to spend my calories? And before you can tell me how, you need to have a baseline of what you're doing right now.
Yes.
And as soon as you learn a little bit more about what you're doing right now, how and when and where you're spending a lot of your calories, then you'll be able to say, okay, I'm willing to save on some calories here, here, and here. And if those align with who you want to be, you will be successful.
Perfect.
They know everything they need to know.
I do as well. And like, I mean, there's a few messages in here as well of stop comparing. You are not broken. Don't be a victim of your own budget. Okay. Be smart with your budget. So it's like people that look at other people that might have more money in their bank account and you're like just sitting there, oh, I have nothing. Then go work for it. Go do something. Go, I just feel like don't be a victim. Either really be smart about what you got or embrace it. Like just be like, this is the life, this is the budget I have, and we hear that often with like, oh, when I was younger, or when I blah, 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 or before kids or after kids. This is who you are today. How can we be our best selves today with what we got, so not being a victim, not feeling broken, no comparison. You have your own budget and be smart about it. Done. Perfect. Okay, hopefully everyone's going to be like writing down their little lifestyle here. But I do think that you need to realize that your lifestyle is a big part of what creates your, like, where you spend your budget. So have a look at your lifestyle. So if you're a member, 7-day lifestyle challenge will get you thinking about your lifestyle.
I mean, they need like 1 day of the 7-day lifestyle challenge, and they already learn so many things about their happiness, themselves, their consumption, all the things.
Okay. And that was also a big piece of our talk today was, guys, you have a budget. Make sure that whatever you spend your budget on, that you're happy, that it really feels that you're being the person you want to be. That's all that matters. And like Alicia said, you're going to be successful if that's your mindset behind it. Okay, everyone, obviously leave us an amazing review, 5-star thumbs up. Find us, come see us on Instagram. As always, find us Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook under Your Way Weight Loss, or join us under yourwayoursupport.com. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye, Leash.
Bye.